Hello everyone, I'm Sherry with Red Apple Auctions. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about volunteers. Everybody needs volunteers for their auction, but sometimes they can be hard to find. So I interviewed Sandy Rees, who is a fundraising expert on this very topic. Sandy and I, gosh, we've known each other for a few years now. Here's a photo of us when I went down to Tennessee to visit her. Saw her horses on her little farm down there, and she's in the Smoky Hill area down south of Knoxville. And she is her company name is Get Fully Funded, so you can check it out at getfullyfunded.com. And she just released a book last week, so I was interviewing her about that and specifically drilled down on volunteers because auctions need volunteers. And she said, I'm happy to give you some tips. In fact, she said one of the first ones is you got to be clear about what it is that you need. If you think about an auction, whatever the tasks are that you're doing, you're probably doing a bunch of them if you're an auction chair. But, you know, as an item comes in and you take that and you accept that donation, do you put it into an Excel spreadsheet? Do you put it into software? Do you lock it up in the storeroom? What is the process that you're using for going out and soliciting for items? Think about your processes, because what you're going to be doing is teaching a volunteer those processes. You're creating those clones. And people are more likely to sign up for something if they know what you're asking them to do. Secondly, you want to recruit the right people. You know, don't assume that just because someone's a huge fan of the nonprofit that they know how to help the nonprofit raise money. If you've got a great person, they can't just assume, you just can't assume that they know how to run check-in, for instance, or that they know how to sell raffle tickets. So you want to make sure that you're matching the right skill set to the job and so forth. Sometimes there's people out there, right, and they've got a great personality, they've got great passion for the nonprofit, but they kind of rub people the wrong way. And might not be the right person that you want to put out front and center as far as representing your nonprofit in the community and asking for donations. And then thirdly, you want to set those volunteers up for success. Whatever it is that they need. Is it support? Is it training? Is it a system? What is it? You want to make sure they have a positive experience so they come back the next year. I asked Sandy where she used to get volunteers because she's worked for a few nonprofits herself. She said, I like to just start asking around. You know, ask the board. When I go out into when I'm in the nonprofit, ask the current staff if they know of people. Of course, you want to announce it in your newsletter, your website, your social media. She says, but when I'm out networking in the community, I'm thinking about those volunteers I need, and I'm not afraid to ask. She also said that despite the fact that she lives in a rural community, that volunteermatch.com has proven good for her as far as finding good volunteers. So even though she thought Volunteer Match might be more geared towards the metropolises of the United States, nope, they actually helped her in rural Kentucky. A great tip that she did, and I'm going to immediately incorporate this into my own vocabulary and would suggest that you do as well, instead of asking people if they want to work the auction or volunteer for the auction, ask them if they want to come play. Hey, we're putting on an auction. Would you like to come play with us? Sounds a lot softer, doesn't it, than working or volunteering? I like that tip. Another one is that you can create a profile. Think about the people that are great in their roles. You've got someone who's entering data into the computer. What makes them great about doing that? You've got someone who's out soliciting. What makes them great about soliciting for items? Create a profile, and then when you meet people who kind of have those same skill sets, you know they'll also be good in that particular role. Final question I asked Sandy is, you know, sometimes I get questions. People say, oh, our board just won't support us in the auction. They won't bring items. They won't bring people. And usually what I tell people when I hear that is that they've got a lot bigger problem than just this auction. They've got a board problem. Sandy said the same thing. You know, when I hear this with my clients, I'm like, you need to call people like Sandy, and you need to work on board development. This is a bigger issue than just your auction. Folks, you can't make people care about something they just don't care about. So if that's your board, be thinking about bigger terms, bigger problems here, and how to solve those bigger problems that are inherent in your nonprofit, not just the auction. Now, her new book, like I said, was just released last Friday. It's Get Fully Funded: How to Raise the Money of Your Dreams. And you can find it there at the web link that's on in front of you right now. She's got a couple of different versions, one that has templates, one that doesn't, so I know you're going to find a price point that works for you. It's specifically geared for development directors or executive directors who are responsible for fundraising. So if that sounds like you, make sure you check out her book. And if it doesn't sound like you and you really just want auction information, then by all means head on over to my website. I've got a free gift for you, which is all procurement based. It's called What Sold Like a Gem in 2010, and it's the top 100 items I sold for overvalue in auctions last year. I'm Sherry with Red Apple Auctions. Thanks for tuning in today. Hope you got some great information out of that. As always, good luck to you in your charity auction.